In this episode of the Connect and Collab podcast, we sit down with Dr. Tiffany Noelle. She's the founder and executive director and lead facilitator for Black Girls Stay Lit, a Cincinnati-based program dedicated to empowering Black girls through culturally responsive literacy, writing, and leadership development. With over 20 years in education, including a decade as a college English professor, Dr. Noelle shares how her concept of liberatory literacy moves traditional reading instruction to help young people connect language to identity, critical thinking, and belonging. Through her work, literacy becomes a tool for confidence building, self-expression, and long-term leadership. Dr. Tiffany Noelle, we thank you for your service.
Thank you for having me here.
No problem. This is good. I couldn't wait to get you on the show. So with that being said, can you share what led you to create Black Girls Stay Lit?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I am a former English professor, and without naming any names, I taught at a university that was not very diverse in intellectually or students, right?
Right.
And so my background is in Africana women's literature, meaning literature written by Black women in English all over the world. And so, and my interest is in the cultural similarities that you'll find among Black women wherever they are. And it speaks to the idea of gendered culture, right? So my point is that at this school, I wasn't able to teach in my specialization as much as I'd like. You know, there's at the university, the classes only make if enough students sign up, right? So you know how that works. If you have an atmosphere that doesn't necessarily regard it highly, then people aren't signing up for it. Then they say, well, you can't teach it. So there weren't enough opportunities for me to do what I signed up for.
Got it.
So Black Girls Stay Lit is what I signed up for.
That's what you, okay.
It's what I signed up for.
Okay.
To center Black girls and women in both the work that we are reading, but also intellectually. You know, we have a rich history in Black literary circles, right? And so the idea is to do the work that I really signed up for, which is to center Black girls and women in literary and cultural history.
I see. So it sounds like you found your purpose through through the issues that you had, the obstacles that you faced. It birthed Black Girls Stay Lit.
It birthed Black Girls Stay Lit.
So do you regret going through that experience, or do you I'm happy I went through this experience just to see what came out of it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say regret. I really enjoyed being a college professor, but it didn't feed me intellectually in the way that I see. Okay. That the excitement I had in graduate school, you know, like, oh my God, discovering all these writers and all of these themes, and it just didn't fulfill that for me, simply because of the school I was at. I know it could have been better at a different school.
Different school.
Yeah, but this, I think I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, good. So when people hear literacy, they often think of like reading and writing. How do you define literacy?
So reading and writing is certainly part of it, but it's for me, it's much more about empowerment in the sense of helping people to discover not only their own voice, but again, a whole history of their voices, similar voices speaking for them and on their behalf, and empowering the girls to become authors of their own stories.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
It's
Yeah, it sounds like
exciting.
empowering girls to become their own authors of their stories. I
Yeah.
feel like that's beautiful because now they have the ability to create their own narrative, create their own story.
Exactly. And there's a lot of narrative correction
Yes,
that needs to be done
yes,
about
I
what
agree.
what if black women, Have you ever Googled black women? If you just Google black women,
You'll
the
see
most
some.
disgusting things come up.
Oh wow.
Lots of porn, but nothing about
Nothing.
our beauty, our strength, our
history,
legacy of community caretaking. Nothing about that.
Wow.
So there's them being authors of their own narrative is absolutely important. But I see that as more of a end product along a whole process that absolutely includes narrative change, them changing the narrative about black women, not necessarily for other people, but for themselves.
For themselves, yeah. So what does, and I know you have a theme, beyond reading literacy as liberation. What does liberation look like through literacy for black girls?
Yeah, well, it means owning your voice,
Okay.
right? It means understanding and using your agency, right? It has to do with a certain critical consciousness. Again, a consciousness of how deep the legacy is,
Let's see.
right? And a consciousness about community, about being part of community and caretaking for community.
Let's see. Well,
Among other things.
yeah. So it sounds like liberation could also be more of a self-expression or helping them identify themselves through creative writing.
Yeah, self-definition.
Self-definition.
Right.
I like that. Okay.
So, through their writing, but also I can't tell you how powerfully I have been affected by literature by black women, right? Where I, will read along with an author who is just so embedded in the culture that I learned the culture all over again.
Wow.
And the richness of it just amazes me. So it literature by black women like Toni Morrison. I did my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation on Toni Morrison's novels. I mean, so like people like Toni Morrison, have really, I think, have shaped me in ways that are really synonymous with the way my parents shaped me, with the way my elders shaped me, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So can you share a moment, and I think you talked about it a little bit, where you saw literacy as it transformed like your confidence or your ability with one of your participants?
With one of my participants, I suspected such a question, and I actually wrote down one that I'm gonna talk to you about now, but I may, be reading just a little bit. So there are lots of stories, but there was one particular student who I'm thinking of this student who she came in really kind of hesitant to write. Like, I can't write. I'm not a writer. So really kind of hesitant to put herself out there. And it came down to, not just writing, but speaking, even within the group, right? And so she kind of second-guessed herself. She played down her capacities, right? Because one of my bottom lines is, I'm very asset-based.
Yes.
I'm looking at you for your strengths, and I'll help you identify your strengths. So she was really kind of, she second-guessed herself in ways that concerned me, and I was concerned that she would become disengaged. Because, sometimes that lack of confidence can look like non-engagement.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
So during one of the sessions, we were reading a story that really touched on a experience that she had had. She's like, oh my God, I've lived that.
Wow.
And first she whispered it. And I said, huh? What did you say? Did you share it with us? And she said, I literally have been through exactly what she's talking about. And I didn't really have the words to even kind of explain it until I just read this. And I was like, ha ha, that's it. That's what I'm talking about, how transformative this can be, right? So from that point on, she gradually became much more engaged in the group, became much more willing to try out the writing. And I tell you, by the end of our 10-week session, she was the star.
Wow.
She was the star. She's like, oh, let me tell you about what she said on page 12. I know that, she just came completely out of her shell. So it gave her confidence, right? Seeing herself in the literature. I can't overstate how important that is, particularly for all children, but particularly for Black children, right? Because let's be real, we live in a very anti-Black setup, right? Yeah, so for her to see herself in the story, identify herself in the story, and then take that to create her own story and to create a whole narrative standpoint where she's almost dominating the group with her opinions was just fantastic.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful story. So, and that's an example of the power of, I feel like, mentorship, right? To where you're guiding, you're directing, you're leading them to become something that they probably didn't really see within themselves.
Exactly.
And I feel like we need to do that more often, like just be more consistent with that.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you shared that story. And with that being said, like your impact, what makes like Black Girls Stay Lit unique in this approach to serving?
Oh yeah, we're totally unique. So I haven't seen it as much, but you remember several years ago there was a lot of push of getting girls into STEM and STEM-based programs,
or
right?
STEAM.
Or STEAM, where you throw arts in too, right?
Right.
So the approach is very different because rather than, like, I have nothing against STEM. It's not my field, right? But I have nothing against it. But, what I do is based in, the humanities, right? Teaching people, helping people to understand what it is to be human and to be better at it, right? And just training for specific jobs doesn't necessarily do enough to develop a whole person. This develops whole people. Right? It develops whole people, and it develops a sense of, among the girls, a sense of community among each other, right? With each other. No mean girl stuff happens in Black Girls Stay Lit, right? It's all support. It's all encouragement. It's all, say that again. Right?
Yeah. So it's more like wholesome, wholeness, holistic approach.
The whole person. The whole person is being served in Black Girls Stay Lit, and the whole person is being called upon in Black Girls Stay Lit.
I love that. That's a Facebook quote. I like that.
But we're also different just in terms of a focus on not just literacy, but specifically centering Black girls in the conversation. We've got lots of programs for teens, for people, but this is all about them. It centers them. It centers Black culture. It centers our understandings of ways to do things, right? So, like, classroom, you got to raise your hand. You got to wait to be called on. Black Girls Stay Lit. You can speak as long as you're not interrupting anyone else. You can always speak. And we also encourage things like, when you speak, pick up on the last thing that was said. Call the name. When DeVoe said blank, I thought blank. And now I'm thinking, and so we're in conversation.
Yeah, it creates that dialogue, that communication, that authority, but also showing signs of respect.
Yes, and reciprocity.
I love it. So what kind of, and I think we're touching on the impact, but do you see a long-term impact with the girls that you serve? Like, what's something that you...
Yeah. So, honestly, I can't say I've seen long-term impact because I haven't had long-term come into effect yet.
Okay.
But I will tell you that our program is evidence-based, right? Based on research research in adolescent literacy in Black girls specifically. And research has shown long-term impacts of not necessarily a literacy group. I'm specifically referring to research that I've compiled that shows that how Black kids, girls in particular, really thrive in safe Black spaces, right? Spaces that are culturally Black and safe and centered around them. How for them, the impacts on their sense of themselves and their academic engagement has shown complete long-term effects.
Long-term effects.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So meaning that there will be some long-term incomes and different things like that. Okay.
Outcomes,
good.
yeah.
Outcomes.
Yeah. And a long-term kind of mindset shift.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? Critical
critical.
consciousness.
And we all need that.
Yeah.
No matter what age you are, you still need it because, like I tell people all the time, I'm a lifelong learner. Like I'm a continuous learner. I'm gonna always be learning and developing. So it's life's a journey. It's never ending. I know for me. Can't speak for everybody. But as a member with Community Shares, because you are a member with Community Shares, have we helped you amplify your mission, or did we help you expand, or was there anything that you can see that we've done to help improve the mission?
Well, so I haven't. I've been a member for less than a year now. I will be coming up on a year.
Okay. So you're fresh.
So I'm expecting all of that you said to be the case over time. But I definitely want to say that being part of community connections has been really personally very uplifting to me, to be part of a space where everyone is committed to equity. Everyone is committed to doing good work in whatever area that they're working in the community. It's phenomenal to feel like you're in a room of people who are for you, who are like-minded, who are rooting for you, and you root for them, and we all recognize that we're all that the work is being done. That's something that I wasn't as aware of before I was in Community Connects. Just like the work is being done. People are doing the work.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to me to be part of a organization where everyone is committed to equity, to inclusion, empowerment,
animal welfare, civic engagement,
the least of these, all of that, all the good stuff.
Good.
All the good
stuff. It's the community connections, right? That could amplify your mission.
Definitely. Definitely. But, I mean, there's a lot to be said for being personally inspired on a regular basis. I'm personally inspired by so much of the work that's being done by other members and the staff at Community Connections.
Thank you. So what keeps you motivated in this work, especially when the going gets tough? It's very challenging because if you're in a nonprofit space, funding can be limited, it can be restricted, it can be pulled away. And so how are you handling some of these challenges that may come across?
Right, and those are all real challenges that Black Girls Statehood is facing. But it just comes down to the girls.
Yes.
To the girls. Just to do the work for the girls is what keeps me up. It keeps me lifted. And the kind of story that I told, and there are so many more stories about impact, personal impact with the girls that just makes me know I can just keep fighting through it
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
doing it for the girls.
Yeah. So that helps you keep the fire stay lit. So
literally,
yes, yeah, it does. I was trying to pull it together. I think I did a little bit. All right. So how can listeners support Black Girls Stay Lit, or how can they get involved? Could they donate funds?
Yes.
Their website, any contact information? This is the part where you make the ads to some of the listeners, because we're going to put this out to the community.
Sure. So Black Girls Stay Lit, a lot of grassroots organizations, right? I really am a kind of a one-person shop. And it's a lot of moving parts that I certainly could use help with. From certainly funding. Funding is, without going into detail, we're hurting in ways we weren't hurting before our current administration came into
Probably all of us.
the people's house, right? So definitely funding. Funding by funders and general listeners who agree that it's really important for Black girls to have a safe space to exercise their intellectual capacities, to see themselves in literature, to write about their experiences, and come to know themselves as whole people. Those are if that's your thing, we're very happy to be supported. But in general, partnerships are most of my work is working to create partnerships where girls whose parents might not sign them up necessarily for this, or girls who might not on the face of it think that this is an organization for them. Partners who can encourage girls towards the program, who can help pay for girls to be part of the program, right? That all is needed. It's all needed.
So tuition, supplies, materials, marketing, all that good stuff. Okay, good.
And also volunteers. Because there's many positive people around them as possible. I think is better for them. Okay. So we do have a website. And that, I think, would be the best way to suggest that people contact us, because there's a contact page and I absolutely respond to anything there. So we're at blackgirlsstaylit.org.
Got it. Blackgirlsstaylit.org. Okay, got it. Okay, good. Yeah. So last question. So what's next for you in your organization? Like, is there a vision? Is there like a strategic plan, maybe 3 to 5 years of what you want to do?
Yeah, I have all kind of aspirations to make Black Girls Stay Lit a national organization, with chapters and
see that,
as a proprietary, the liberatory literacy curriculum, that I created, I would love to see that license and me being involved in training people to be sure that we're staying within the cultural ground rules. Right? But right now, again, my focus is my constant grind is expanding partnerships so that we can expand access to more girls and make more impact.
Well, we thank you for your time and your service and all the work that you've done. And we are at a close, and this is our 3rd episode. So thank you all for tuning in.
And thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you for coming. All right. Cut! This has been good.
Yeah, it felt good to me. What do you think?